So I'm going to talk about our own Malt McDonald internal digital transformation, as well as our new service offerings in digital. So to start with, I want to talk about our Malt McDonald. I'm sure most of you know what we do, but fundamentally, our focus is on providing positive opportunity, positive solutions, and positive outcomes using our expertise across many industries. And this diagram explains it a bit better. But for our digital transformation, we set out in 2 stages. First, we laid the foundations. So to start with, we created a business case. We explained why we were going to put all this money behind our transformation. We reached out to our software providers to leverage some enterprise agreements to allow us to use the software more efficiently. And then we rolled out to our staff. So we explained to people why we're doing this. We explained that this is where our company is heading. Then we started creating the IT infrastructure so that we could collaborate efficiently across the world using our IT networks. So that was the foundation. Once that was in place, we launched our basically our upskilling of the workforce, instructing people how they change the way they do their work, instructing people why this is important and why we're going in this direction. So we first moved all of our IT servers into the cloud to allow people to have easy access to it across the world. Then we launched Go Digital. So Go Digital was our corporate initiative where we upskilled our colleagues. We gave targeted training to individuals so that they could do the right job or the correct way to do their job in the new way of working. And then after that, we slowly started to see a bit more project efficiency, and that led us to the more digital business where we were starting to create new business ventures, new services that came out of this new efficiency. So I'm sure everyone's seen this chart before. The McKinsey in 2016 released a report which classed the construction industry as one of the least digitally progressive amongst all the rest of them. I'd argue that this chart should be not used anymore because it is, at the end of the day, a few years old now. But I'd like to make a comparison with the manufacturing industry. So in manufacturing, they went through what they call the four stages, starting off at the steam power, Industry 1.0, up to Industry 1.0 or 4.0, where they were talking about sort of Internet of Things, analytics, and more smart production facilities. So if you look at some of the technologies they were using, that the construction or the manufacturing industry use these days, they're looking at implementing QA/QC procedures with scanners. So instead of taking a sample of 1 in 5 or 1 in 10 to run your QA checks, these scanners will do it as the products are being manufactured, and if it's within tolerance, it'll pass the QA check. There's also in 3D printing, we're starting to see interoperability between the analysis software and the 3D printing software technologies, so you can justify the component that you're manufacturing, the component that you're designing is the most optimized, and it will function as required. But if we compare that to the Construction 4.0 from the World Economic Forum, which David talked about before, same slide, same picture, it's the same things. We're looking at Internet of Things, we're looking at artificial intelligence, and we're looking at scanning. So my point here is that we're not that dissimilar in the things we're aiming for. The application of it and the people behind it may be slightly different, but we still are aiming for the same thing. So I think the McKinsey report should be seen with this context as well. For Malt McDonald, how we rate our digital transformation or digital approach to the way we work is 5 steps. So we look at our digital behavior. We look at making sure the training's right for the market that we're working in. Digital collaboration, we work across the globe. So we have to make sure that best technical excellence is shared, best practice is shared across the business, and that's done in our practice sites, which are SharePoint-based sort of sites where everyone can share knowledge, everyone's got access to. For digital information management, we all of our projects start on collaborative platforms. So they'll all start in a CDE or a collaborative sort of data sharing information solution. Then for digital projects, every project starts now with a technology plan. This sets out our software and approach to working, and it's followed through from beginning to the end of the project. And then finally, we move into the business development. So this is where we're creating new digital ventures, we're creating new ways of working, new sort of service offerings that we don't normally offer. So for that last piece, this is how you'd expect a normal service offering to come about. So our normal ways of working, we usually have, we have our typical service offerings, but we also, we continually improve on these services, whether it be updates to software, whether it be new ways of working. We're doing this very, very frequently. Then potentially something comes out of a project where you start working, you create a bit of research and development where you upskill or you create a tool that can be shared across many projects. But then the next step, something that happens even less frequently, is this, you can tell this isn't my slide deck, so I can't remember the acronym. But this is another service offering that lands outside the book. So it's a new business that doesn't align 100% with what you are typically offering. So for us, this is where we are starting to push our service offering. And then at the end, you have corporate venture capitals, that's what it is. So private venture capital and mergers and acquisitions are the next stage, where you're adding more businesses, different businesses into your own business to increase what you can offer to clients. Well, obviously, these happen less and less, and they have more risk applied. And then at the back end, you always need to retire the same service or services at the same time to make sure that all of your employees and all your all the people that work in your company know what you offer and can communicate that well with the client. If you have too many services, then you end up with people not understanding, people not knowing what you can offer to the clients. So now I want to talk about what we've done at McDonald's. So our first digital venture is smart infrastructure. So this was created a couple of years ago. Basically what we offer is digital advisory. So we help advise clients on their digital strategy, their digital approach to work, but also for their information management. So we'll come in and advise how you currently structure your information, how you structure the application of that on projects, and advise where best you can use it. We have, the team also provides asset performance optimization. So they'll work with asset owners, operators, and investors, work out how they're using their asset, and try and tweak it so that the performance and the efficiencies of the operation increases and therefore saves you money. And then at the back end, there's the technology solution. So this is the sort of data-driven platform that we call Moata, and it advises these other two services, but I'll talk about that a bit more in a bit. So one of the fundamental things this team does when they first come up to a client or a client engages with them is we ask them to look at the Smart Infrastructure Index. So this tool is a 15-minute questionnaire. It's accessible to all. Just go to smartinfrastructure.com and you can see how your company aligns to the sector average and best practice. It gives you insights into where you might not be quite as developed as you might think, or where you might want to start looking into investing and sort of diversifying your offerings. Our team will come and workshop this with you if you are interested at all. But it's, as I say, go and have a play. It's quite it's worthwhile doing just as a So, as I said, Moata is our digital twin platform. So, for us, digital twins are more than just the virtual representation of an actual real-world asset. The digital twin has to have a linkage, so there has to be feedback. There has to be information passing between the two. This is what gives it value. This is what gives you insights, and this is what gives the client more confidence in making the decisions further down the line. So smart infrastructure is what we've called it, but it enhances the physical world with digital insights. And the key for all this is making sure that the model that you're creating, this platform gives you a realistic digital representation. If it's not accurate, if it doesn't give you a realistic interpretation, then you can't make the insights that you want. So how do we access the right information all the time? So all information has a value, and there's a hierarchy of it. So at the bottom, we have the digital integrations. This is where our raw data comes in, the Internet of Things, the SCADA data, your asset information, all of that sort of information is absorbed at the bottom. But to actually get value out of it, you need to start making sense of it. So you need to start putting algorithms, seeing how, see there's trends in the data, so you can actually improve your decision making at the end of the day. So, as I said, the digital twin, having the active connection between the two is what gives it value. Digital twins have 10 years proven record. They're used in automotive. They're used in the aerospace industry. So it makes sense for us to use this more in our construction industry and operation. So now I'll give you a real world example of where this has been used for our clients. So Auckland City Council came to us and asked us, well, basically they wanted to create the world's most livable city. So they asked us, what if we could predict the impact of a rainfall event? So our team started amalgamating all of the data they could. So they looked at rainfall gauges, radar, global weather system analysis, and they turned around they reduced the reporting events to 7 minutes. Essentially what that looks like is this. So this is the Moata platform itself. It doesn't have to have the GIS sort of background. It can be dashboards. It's not about how it looks. It's more about the information that's providing to the client. It's about the insights that it gives you, making sure you can give the right information at the right time. So what essentially this is showing is it's predicting what the current rainfall in certain areas will manifest themselves in terms of flooding, in terms of manholes that might need maintenance. And it gives this information in real time. So that's one of the Auckland projects. But for a step further, for a more population sort of experience, Auckland City Council asked us if we could predict the bathing water quality in real time. So we created this digital twin, and basically this takes 1 billion data points a day from 10 different corporations that were working with us, and used, I think it was 6 different data analytics models to produce this model. So this is what the Auckland City Council see, but this is what you see if you go to SafeSwim online, and it gives you a real-time assessment of what the water quality is at that time across Auckland. And this platform has been awarded several quite prestigious digital awards in Auckland, and it's been very well received there. Another service offering that's it's been developed and it's being used internally is our carbon portal. So this carbon portal basically takes information from BIM models and it assigns it a carbon loading. You can basically assess your project at different development stages and assess how much carbon you are using at every single stage of the project. Doing this, you can start looking at saving carbon throughout your project. So for the Northern Extension Line, we managed to save 16% carbon through optimizing D-walls, tunnel diameters, and piles. So it's a quantifiable saving in carbon use for the project. And then, so finally, as a wrap up, looking ahead, all of this is great, but making sure that the client understands what they're asking for is fundamental to all this. We don't want to be answering questions that the client doesn't want answered. So we need to understand what is the end goal at the start of the project, therefore to make sure that we deliver the right outcomes. For upskilling, as you can see, these projects are based in New Zealand. So if things like this were required in Hong Kong, we would lean on our global experience, get the expertise here, and I'm sure everyone else can do the same. And embracing technologies, we're always looking for these new technologies, we're always looking for these new ideas and service offerings that Mark McDonald can provide. So we've launched an internal competition, essentially, and any idea that's posted on our Yammer pages gets fed into a central system, and the best ones are sort of pushed forward and made into business cases, and we develop those tools into the digital ventures that you see. So thank you very much for listening to me. That's my talk.